Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Today is the 100th episode of the Big Red Zone, and we got a very special guest. OG host of the Big Red Zone, James, is here. We'll talk to him, see what he's been up to. We got week 8 in the NFL, picks of the week, and all that good stuff. All that and more on this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I'm joined by Danny Football. And today we have a very special guest, James, the original host of the Big Red Zone, is back. Welcome home.
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Great. How are you doing?
Oh, doing well.
Today is a special day on multiple accounts. One, it is a big day. This is why James is here. It's the 100th episode of the Big Red Zone. 100 episodes. That is crazy to think that we have made it to 100 episodes. But it is also James' birthday. It is a big day. So multiple accounts. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
And it's great to have you here on this momentous day in all our lives.
Oh yeah, another year older.
And
good
James
excuse to grab some food and drink later.
Yeah, absolutely. And James is making time for us in his busy schedule at SoFi Stadium, where he's joining us remotely.
Oh, absolutely.
James, how's everything been? Let the listeners know. I mean, I know because I see you all the time, but let the listeners
No, first
know.
Time seeing you in like how many years?
I know, dude. I haven't seen you in over a year and a half now.
It's crazy. I've been living at the stadium. Like got an apartment set up here. It's fantastic. No one's around. No, but things have been good. In terms of sports wise, but keep it up really with F1. I'm really into motorsports and stuff like that. Anything automotive. So I follow a lot of competitive drag racing and stuff like that. But really in the last like 6 months to a year, just been following F1 esports and F1 like actual racing a lot. And it's been a very exciting year considering the massive changes coming up in the team switches and everything. And arguably one of the best title fights in F1 history. So this year's been wild if you guys like to keep up with that kind of stuff.
No, give it their due. Give it their shout out, because I know that some of the listeners that watch F1, I'm sure, are loving this little bit of a little plug. That's how it started. Danny Football came in and gave a little wrestling plug. Producer John came in and gave a wrestling plug, and then we started talking a lot more wrestling. So give the F1 them shout out. We were all together actually on Halloween. We had a nice little, not Halloween the day before, but we had a nice little Halloween party. Danny Football was the Joker, and might I say a great Joker.
You did really well with the face makeup, dude. Like that was really well done.
So I had a million ideas going into Halloween. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I think I came up with the Joker maybe the Monday before. So I only had like 5 or so days. I texted my buddy's girlfriend because she does art and everything. So she's really good with like brushes and stuff like that. Design wise. So I texted her. I'm like, hey, do you think you can do the Joker makeup? And she's like, I can give it a shot. I'll see how we can do. So Saturday, maybe a little less than an hour. Her and my roommate just banged it out. It looks so good. I couldn't have asked for anything better. I've been thanking them ever since. It was easily my favorite costume of all time.
It looked so good. It was like spot on, perfect Joker. James went on as a funny Marvel character. We went on. Do you want to let him know who you were?
Well, it started off that there was like 3 different characters I wanted to try. And thankfully, because of the old COVID, I couldn't get anything that I wanted to online, couldn't get anything in time. So I was like, who is probably the easiest character I could pull off that would make sense? And I was like, I also don't want to buy clothes unnecessarily and like just get them for a one night thing and like never use them again. So like, let's see what I can find. Turns out I was able to find exactly everything from the, it's the first part of Endgame where they go visit Thor. Yeah, the first part of it. Yeah, so like basically Fat Thor basically is what it was. But I found almost all the right clothing. So it was kind of fun. It was nice that it wasn't a ton of setup, but I'm still disappointed I couldn't get the stuff that I wanted to this year. Next year, though. I've already put in a pre-order for a different costume for next year. I'm not going to get caught out.
I was talking about.
One of the ones that we already talked about. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like James said, something I can wear again. I was the Rock from the Rock meme with him
With the
posting
fanny
with
pack.
with the fanny pack. It was a great picture, great photo op. Well, maybe I can maybe talk to me.
We're
I guess
spot
I'll
on.
put a little picture in there at each one, show everyone's costume. I'm sure I could figure it out. I mean, if you're listening to this on Spotify, you won't be able to go to our YouTube channel. Great time. Go to you can follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcast, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. Wow, 100 episodes in, seamless plugs, seamless transitions. I am on fire.
You've done this before? Wow.
100 times. Also, I mean, a little not as happy and a little bit of sad news. Jerry Remy, we got the word on Halloween morning that he had passed away from his battle with cancer, man. It was, I think, six or seven bouts of cancer. Like, he battled it, and unfortunately we lost him. I saw this and I think I agree. It's like he's the Tommy Heinsohn to the Celtics. He's like that to the Red Sox. Like, he's just it's really a sad, like, this one was really sad. And I just have been watching nothing but not Tommy Heinsohn, Jerry Remy, like the highlights with Don, like the pizza throw, the oops. You ever see the oops one?
Yeah, I was watching that yesterday.
Oops is hilarious. The tooth, like all those moments with Jerry Remy just made games so special to watch and fun to watch. And he's going to be greatly missed from not just Red Sox Nation, from MLB baseball.
Yeah, you mentioned the Tommy Heinsohn, and it's almost been a year since we lost Tommy, so it very much is on that same plane of, that was the voice of the Red Sox. That was a guy that no matter what game you turned on, you're going to hear Jerry, whether it was the Buenos Noches Amigos, just having fun with Don Orsillo, and then later Dave O'Brien. He's been in and out of the booth ever since he was diagnosed the first time back in 2008. Like you said, 7 battles with cancer. It just sucks that he went through all this. But at least he's at peace now. So it really puts into perspective how powerful it was for him to throw out that first pitch at the wild card game against the Yankees. I mean, the dude I can't imagine the state he was in, and to still have a smile on his face, throw the first pitch to Eck, who's been filling in for him over these last couple of years. It really puts it into perspective, and he was a huge part of the Red Sox organization, whether it was as a player. I mean, a Massachusetts native playing for the Red Sox. That's what we all dream of.
Yeah.
So he lived a dream, playing for the Red Sox, commentating for the Red Sox. He was always part of the community. So definitely a tough one for everyone around here.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing you mentioned in that, like, in that wild card game, he's always smiling. And I think that's why we loved Jerry. It was just always had a smile on his face, always was laughing, always made other people laugh. And it's really sad to see him pass. But like you said, he's at peace. And all we can say is thank you for the memories from Jerry Remy. So let's keep the show moving to a little more positive topics. Let's get to the weekend recap.
It's the weekend recap.
So for weekend recap, we picked 3 games from the NFL week, one of which is the Patriots game. First up, we're going to talk Packers Cardinals Thursday night football. It was a good game, bad ending, but it was a good game. So James, I know this is one of your favorite games of the week.
Oh.
What was your takeaways from this Packers Cardinals bout?
Well, I guess a bad ending depending on which team you like.
I mean, yeah,
But-
I guess depending on what team you're supporting.
How about I would say maybe
Steve clearly tipping his hand at who he was supporting in this game.
Well, it would be we'll get to the end in a second. But disappointing in terms of an obvious mistake. But that being said, like, it was a really great game to watch in terms of the matchup. You had Green Bay that really couldn't get the passing game as much as the rushing game. somehow, as soon as they found it worked, about like, what was it, 8-10 minutes in the first, and they realized, oh, this is working, we're picking up steam. They stuck with it. And Kyler Murray showing really again why he's such a great quarterback. Those interceptions that he threw, man, that they were both really, really important points of the game. It really sucks that it happened, and I hope to see him still grow. But man, the fact that the Cardinals are 7-1 and the fact that they're again going to be a relevant team, I really, really cannot wait to see them in the postseason with how they're going. And also Green Bay too. Aaron Rodgers making another, fantastic run at it. It's unfortunate that he was not accurate that game as could have been. He's only 22 for 37. It seemed like he really just had a tough time with the Arizona defense. They were where they should be every single time. And it wasn't because there weren't that many people out there with butterfingers or anything. Like, it's not like they were dropping a ton of plays. It's just he could not get anyone open. But thankfully, between AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, they both put up excellent rushing numbers. They both did a fantastic job.
Yeah, very interesting to see from rushing element of Green Bay that AJ Dillon out carried Aaron Jones and got more yards than Aaron Jones. That was actually kind of surprising to me when I was slipping on the game, watching the game. The other thing is, I mean, I kind of get why they had to lean on it. I mean, they were missing. They were missing. Randall Cobb was probably their best wide receiver. They obviously didn't have MVS. They were missing. Oh my goodness gracious, Devontae Adams.
Yep.
With COVID, they had another kid who was COVID. I think it was my waiver pickup of the week last week, or a week ago. And Robert Tonyan got hurt. So like they really didn't have anyone. Randall Cobb was it. And I mean, St. Brown, I guess a little bit, but Randall Cobb was the only one. And Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones was their best pass catcher. So they were hurting on the offensive side from the passing perspective. But I mean, AJ Dillon putting a bad day behind him 2 weeks ago and had a pretty good day on the rushing the football. And Aaron Jones, I mean, Dave Football calls him the hard. What do you call him?
Roller coaster, baby.
Roller coaster. So this was definitely a high for Aaron Jones, and he almost helped Danny Football put me in a casket in one of our leagues. He almost put the nail in the coffin. But yeah, I mean, great win for the Packers. I mean, bonehead play. I mean, Cardinals should be 8-0 if AJ Green can turn around and catch the ball. I mean, he just totally. He just had a total brain fart. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, Kyler Murray, you're right. Had 2 big picks, and that's a problem. But in the rushing game, I mean, their rushing game is not great on Arizona. I mean, they got the 2-headed monster. James Conner always finds ways to score touchdowns. They get touchdowns, but they just can't put up a bunch of rushing yards. So it was a good game, great game. I think both these teams are going to be right there in the end.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if we see this in the playoffs.
Yeah, whether it be the championship or NFC championship or a divisional round or whatever it is.
They'll definitely find themselves, just like the Cowboys and Bucks might find themselves.
Yeah, I agree. So we can move on to the next game. Bucks versus Saints. This was an unbelievable
You
game.
should have rode your hot hand, man.
I should have rode the Saints hot hand. I can't believe I didn't do it. That was a total mistake. Saints, huge upset over the Bucks. I mean, is this his kryptonite? Tom Brady's kryptonite in
his regular
Tampa?
season. His regular
season
anyway.
That's true. Because if it was going to be any time for him to beat the Saints in the regular season, it was going to be against Trevor Siemian. I mean, this is pretty crazy. I mean, the Saints come out, get a big win. Tom Brady throws 2 picks, fumbles the ball, but also throws up 4 touchdowns. The typical Tom. I mean, what do you think about? I mean, the Bucks are now 6-2. Is this loss does this drop them below a team like Arizona or the Cardinals? I mean, Arizona or the Packers? Or do you think this is still are they still the team to come out of the NFC?
Yeah, I think they could still do it. I don't think this necessarily pushes them down a tier. I think we saw opening night against the Cowboys. They're going to struggle, and it just becomes a question of are they going to win these shootouts or are they going to lose these shootouts? And somehow they lost this shootout to Trevor Siemian. That being said, now that Winston's definitely down, there is going to be a question of who do the Saints go to a quarterback, whether it's Taysom Hill, they stick with Siemian. They also have Ian Book.
Your boy.
My boy Ian Book. So so people say, you win the battle, not the war. So it's remained to be seen if the Saints can win the war, because now that they don't have their QB1, they have to face the Bucs again. So it could be a whole nother script if we see this later in the season.
Now, here's a question for you, because we'll mention this with the Patriots game. Trade deadline's tomorrow, so by the time this comes out, you already know who's been traded and who's not been traded. But one name that's at the top of everyone's trade list is Deshaun Watson. This is the Saints, a team that is now 5-2. They're still right in it for a playoff spot. They're a half a game back by the Bucs. I mean, they're right in it. And they really don't have any clear. I mean, Jameis Winston was the quarterback plan, I guess, but they don't really have a set quarterback plan. Is this a team now that Jameis is out? Like, hey, let's go give a first round pick to the Houston Texans and take a flyer on this kid.
I'd be surprised, especially how much they pay Taysom Hill and the fact that they already have 3 QBs on the roster. I'd be surprised. I don't know if I give up a first round pick for Deshaun Watson, given how volatile his situation is.
Yeah. I mean, that's whoever's getting him. And I don't know if he's going to be traded at the deadline. If he isn't traded at the deadline, Houston's crazy because they need to get rid of this guy. Because he's just burning a hole in their wallet. So like, he's not doing anything for your franchise. If anything, it's just causing you to have more of a distraction. And in a time when you're going to, I don't know what their win-loss record. I know it's not good. I don't know if did they get one win yet?
Who?
Houston.
I believe they have one. Let me check.
So they're 1 in whatever, 1 in a mile. It's like, maybe this is a time. I think they should be very active at the deadline.
1-7.
They're 1-7. They should be very active at the deadline, just trying to unload some of these veteran guys and bring in draft picks. And one of them being Brandon Cooks, another being Deshaun Watson. They need to start unloading these guys, getting draft picks. And I think the Saints right now, you're right. They do have 3 quarterbacks on the roster, and they did pay Taysom Hill all that money, but Taysom Hill is banged up. I think he got overpaid for what he is. I don't think he's like a franchise quarterback. And I mean, from what I've seen, he was, he was 5-1 with that. Was leading you to pretty well. I gotta be honest, like I'd try to take a chance on Sean, especially when you're 5-2 and have a chance to keep this going and keep this, try to keep a playoff hope alive.
So are you gonna call your shot and say Deshaun Watson is the starting quarterback for the Saints by next week?
I think they're one of the teams that would be smart to go after and trade for Deshaun Watson. With that said, Houston's such idiots. They don't want to trade anyone. They don't seem like they care about trading him. Bill it wasn't even the same thing with Bill and with Stephon Gilmore and Deshaun Watson. Stephon Gilmore was just going to leave us. It wasn't really costing us much. He was fine on the pup list. And Bill unloaded him for a 6th round pick, just got what he could get for him and said, see you later. Cut his losses and we'll see you later.
Bill's been doing that since we were shitting in our own pants, man. So
right, but I mean, at this point, Deshaun Watson, if someone comes at you and says, "Hey, I give you a 2nd round pick for this guy,"
they definitely shouldn't say no to it. But,
yeah, I would even say yes to it, a couple thirds or something like that, because Deshaun Watson is a franchise quarterback, but
they're gonna get whatever they can get for him. I don't think they're gonna hold a gun to anyone's head and say it needs to be a 1st round pick.
They are. That's what the president said.
I don't know if they will at this point.
The guy said this could change in a week, but he said a week ago that we're fine with holding on to him. We're not going to do it until we get significant compensation.
Then he's not moving on now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I mean, I don't think he's going to be moved, but I think it's foolish if they don't move him, because they need to move on. They need to close the book on the Deshaun Watson thing. I'm also interested in what the NFL is going to do once this guy is back able to play. Like, are they going to put him on the exempt list? Are they going to suspend him? So I think it would be smart for the Saints not to give up the farm, but to give up something that maybe bring in this guy. Because if this guy plays for them and he plays, I think the Saints are just right back up there. I don't think they skip a beat. You don't think so with Deshaun Watson at that quarterback?
I think having sat for as long as he's been sitting, I don't know if it's such a.
That's a good point.
I don't know if it's such a quick, easy fix.
How about Cam Newton?
I think you'd be better off getting Cam Newton.
It's probably cheaper too. You could probably bring him in
Cheaper. I
too.
think you'd be better off with a better situation there.
I mean, I guess it really depends when it comes down to the line of like, how much negotiating leverage do you have in terms of getting rid of them? Because like, if they're gonna Watson, yeah. Because that's the thing, like they might be bluffing that, oh, we don't want to get rid of him unless you give me like a first round draft pick or something, and they might be seeing all the offers come in. There might be a couple or something like that, a couple people lowballing, but I'm just speculating. I doubt it, but
yeah, I mean there was rumors that they were gonna get Tua or they were gonna get someone, but I mean that's not. I mean the Dolphins just said we're all in on Tua. I believe him because Tua is playing pretty well. But I don't know. I it's going to be an interesting 24 hours, I guess. All right, let's move on to the Pats Chargers game. Huge win for the New England Patriots. Absolute huge win. Statement win. We were finally able to beat and close out a very good team in the NFL. And I mean, the Chargers, I mean, they've kind of slipped a little bit, but they're still a very good football team. Pat's defense stands strong. Just general reactions coming from the after watching this past Chargers game.
So you and me have been talking about it 8 weeks now, that they needed to both win these games against like good teams and B, close out these big games against good teams. They did both. Was it the most emphatic win I've ever seen? No, not by any stretch. The fact that Jalen Mills got mossed with a couple seconds left on the clock wasn't exactly what I was looking for. But the pick six down the stretch, Mac Jones kept his composure, didn't throw any touchdowns, but he managed the game. Defense stepped where it had to be met. Dude, Matt Judon is a beast and a half, and he's getting held on every play despite it. So I took it as a statement win. They're at 500 now. You get the Panthers. Let's ride.
Yeah, I agree. It was huge. We needed it. Phillips pick six by Phillips. And Mac wasn't great in that game. I think he did what you had to do to win. I mean, he went on a stretch where he went 1 for like 9 passing. Which is kind of unlike him, to be honest with you. I think he's a very good, he's a smart passer. He finished 18 for 35. Like you said, no touchdowns, no picks either, but in 218 yards. I mean, the positives here for me, Damian Harris was stringing together some great games as the bell cow for this team, which is nice to see a bell cow running back coming from a Patriots team. We haven't seen that in a long time. And I mean, it's not one person on the offensive side catching the ball. It's a kind of it's a wide receiver by committee, I guess. It's everyone's jumping in on the action. I mean, there's no one with more than 4 receptions. Nelson Aguilar had 60 yards, partially because he had a couple he's a deep threat, so he gets a couple long catches. But, you know, a win's a win, and you beat a very good team. You're now 4-4. With a chance, like you said, to get above 500. And I think in the AFC, like I was thinking about this today, I think this is a playoff. I think this changed how Patriots fans and people in the organization viewed the season. They lose and they go 3-5. Now you're not really active at the deadline. I mean, now you're kind of focused on just, developing. 4-4, you have a chance to do something. You have a chance to make the playoffs. You have a chance to make a little run towards down the stretch. And I mean, if I'm the Patriots, I would be a little active at this deadline. And I think this it didn't save their season. I wouldn't go that far, but I think it changed the way people are going to look at the season going forward.
Well, the more I've been watching the Patriots games, the more I've really been thinking about is everybody thought after the first couple of games, it was kind of going to be a write-off. So like, whatever. it's not worth investing in the Patriots right now. We're just going to kind of walk away. But what it's actually showing is really that Belichick's old model of, as you already brought up, not only receiver by committee, but also being adaptable and being able to understand the situation. What I mean is they're still making good use out of Mac Jones. Yes, he does have some moments where there's lacks of consistency, which are an issue, but he also has a lot of growth left in him. And it does show a lot of really high moments. So in terms of with the trade deadline, if they can pick up, God, at this point, almost anyone else to help out, whether it be either a really good running back, really good receiver, something like that, anything, it'll show that really the Patriots are going to go somewhere. I would bet with postseason. I would bet because the Patriots also have a tendency to only get better as the season goes on. You know, it's almost even in Tom Brady's best years, they still would have a couple of random losses like to the Dolphins for some stupid reason. So it wouldn't surprise me. If anyone says they're a Super Bowl team, they're out of their mind. But I would not be surprised is this season is a season that we say, you know what? Belichick still knows what he's doing, and they're going to build off Mac Jones and make it a lot better. So I hope they do. I really do. Because I think they got it.
And the other reason I still believe in this team is, I mean, the landscape of the AFC is just, it's not atrocious, but it's not good. It's not good. I mean, the best record in the AFC is coming from the Titans, and they're 6-2, and they just lost pretty much their quarterback for the season. I mean, like let's face it, Derrick Henry's like their quarterback. Like he's the guy the offense runs through.
I thought you meant that in the fact that he actually throws passes.
That is true. He does have 2 touchdowns in his stat sheet. But he's like, the offense literally runs through him, and taking him out. I mean, I give Ryan Tannehill a lot of credit, but I mean, is he enough to carry a team? I mean, you're getting AJ Brown kind of going now, but I mean, they really need their receivers to step up. And I mean, what do they get? Adrian Peterson. I mean, that's not going to do them anything. The guy looks about 20 years older than Tom Brady and is actually like 10 years younger. So it's like, I like that team's going to start to fall off. I mean, you look at the Ravens, they've lost some big games. The Bengals were the best team in the AFC. Do you realize this going into Sunday? They were the best team in the AFC and they just lost to the Jets.
I was hoping you weren't going to remind me of that.
Sorry. Was that your Survivor team?
I don't want to talk about it. I'll be honest.
So, I mean, I just think that it's pretty ridiculous. I think, they're a game back in the AFC East. And the Bills are 5-2 and we're 4-4. If we get a win next week, I know it's going to work out with buys. But it's like, who's the next best team after the Titans? Who do you go? Maybe the Raiders? Maybe the Raiders are kind of up there. The Ravens, I guess you could say. I mean, the Bengals just lost to the Jets, so I'm definitely not scared of them. Unless we're facing Mike White. Mike White seems to be the
dude, Zach Wilson lost his job. So.
How embarrassing! Zach Wilson just lost his job to Mike White.
Man, rough city.
I mean, it's the Chiefs are 3-4. They have a chance to go 4-4 tonight, which they probably will. I mean, who's here? Which team are you nervous about? It's like, I think it's wide open. AFC's wide open. If they make a move, I really need them to make a move at corner. I like to see them bring in another cornerback into the shore up the secondary. Offensive wise, I mean, if they can bring in like a pass catching running back, Brandon Bolden's been doing a phenomenal job. Ramonda Stevenson has been doing pretty good. And I mean, Damian Harris, I don't really want to see catch footballs, but I love him running, but I need someone without stone hands. So
if only we had a former defensive player of the year in our secondary, that'd have been crazy.
That'd been awesome. I can't wait to play him next week.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, so at the trade deadline for this team to invest going forward, if we can get one of the three, and it's hard to make trades in the NFL, I get it. So we can get one of the three of either finding us a corner to come in and do a job and help shore up the secondary, a pass catching running back, or the wide receivers. I mean, depend. I mean, obviously bringing a DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, that makes an immediate impact, which that's not going to happen. But I mean, do you really think? I don't see anyone out there that would really make a difference on this team, wide receiver wise. I don't see that. So I mean, maybe they bring in a guy like Brandon Cooks if they're trying to unload people. But all I'm saying is, if you're willing to invest in a team in 2019 where you give up a second round pick for Mohamed Sanu, which is like the worst trade I think Bill Belichick's ever made, I think they should be at least willing to invest a little bit into this season for Mac Jones, because I think they got what it takes to not win the Super Bowl, but anything can happen in the AFC because it's so wide open.
I'll feel more confident once we see the first Bills game, because I want to see how we match up there.
Yeah.
If we can hang with or beat the Bills, then I'm feeling pretty confident about this team.
But I think they need to invest in it. I think they need to go out and get shore up the secondary for sure, because the secondary's that's a tough one. It's a pretty. It's looking. That's probably what I'm most concerned about. And I mean, after that, it's like the offensively. I mean, everyone complains about the offense, but I mean, what are we going to add at this point? Like, I mean, a wide receiver. What does the wide receiver, depending on who it is, what does it do for you? I mean, we can't add another slot guy. We have too many of those. I guess you could add a deep ball guy in, but you just paid Nelson Aguilar all that money. So I mean,
I don't see us bringing in a wide out. We already have
I
so many
don't-
as it is.
yeah, I don't. I mean, people are talking about that. I mean, Brandon Cooks is the only one that makes sense because
Unless
he
you
knows the
bundle
system.
the wide receivers and ship them out, but
I don't see them doing that either. I mean, Brandon Cooks is the only wide receiver that makes sense because he knows the system. I think he would fit in. He's playing out of his mind on the Texans, and I think he makes an immediate impact here. Other than that, I don't really see anything that's going to benefit you too much, right? I don't see too much out there. And I mean, the corner is the number one priority, I think, for this team. And they need to find a corner to bring in here to help this secondary out. Is there anyone else you'd like to see them bring in at the deadline or do anything at the deadline? Or
I don't realistically see any moves they could possibly make. I could look like an idiot when this comes out and they end up making a bunch of moves, but right here Monday night, I don't really see them making any moves. I think they're going to stand pat.
less than 24 hours before the deadline, Danny Football says stay pat.
Stand pat. We got this in the bag.
James, is there any moves that you would like to see them make?
Oh God. I mean, I can wish, I can dream, I can hope, but I think the problem is, and this has always been something that Belichick, they're not always very good with these last second decisions. They never have been with the Patriots. So there's like 3 people I could think of, 4 people, but I know they're not going to. I'm going to call it right now. They're not going to trade for anybody.
There we go.
They're going to sit.
Yeah, I can very well see them sitting. I hope they make a move at corner, but I could maybe go out and get Stephon Gilmore, but I don't see anyone else coming in at the deadline. Final thing, they got how many games do we got left? I just counted 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9 games left. What do you think they go? Halfway through the year, pretty much. What do you think they're going the rest of the way? And does it make them a playoff team? Do you think they're a playoff team?
So you want me to project out of the 9 games or?
Out of the 9 games, what they think and does that make them a playoff team? Do you think that makes them a playoff team?
I'd have to look at the slate. Let me take
Panthers. I'll go through it. Panthers.
Win.
Oh yeah.
I think win. Browns.
Win.
Falcons.
Win.
Titans.
That'll be a win at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no Derrick Henry. Yeah, I'd have to agree. At home too. Bills away.
Away, loss.
Yeah, loss. Colts away.
Win.
Bills home.
Win.
Jags.
Win.
They should win that.
I'll bet my house on that game.
God, that's an easy schedule. Jesus.
And Dolphins.
That's a win.
So
is that in
imagine that's the
Miami?
loss that
in
we
Miami.
get. We lose that one. I hate to say it.
Yeah,
But-
that's a trap game.
But here it is. Here it is, right? They're playing in Miami even a little bit later in the season,
True.
right? They're it's in January. Normally we play them in like
December?
no, we play them in usually like September. Usually we play them early
Okay,
at
yeah.
home away and
You're right.
home. I mean,
Well,
or
the freaking
it's the extra week.
that 2 million like pitch run back was that the last game of the season, or it was
It
close
was a
to the end of
couple
the
weeks,
season?
but it's also now this is wild card weekend. What would be wild card weekend? So this is like 4 weeks after. So the weather's not so hot that it's like unbearable for the Patriots, but the Patriots also don't like the heat that much either. So it's like
Yeah, and
kind
I
of a
guess
middle ground.
we already played them this season, so
They're gonna blow them out. I think. I don't think it's.
all
I
right.
think they're
So
gonna
what
blow
do
'em.
we say the one
You're gonna
we have them going what 8-1?
8-1. I don't think they
That's
go
not
8-1.
realistic.
But I think 6-3.
I don't know who they lose to though. Honestly,
They
maybe-
lose one of the Bills, definitely.
I mean, they very well
Yes.
could get swept by the Bills.
They could get swept by the
'Cause
Bills.
they won't win both games. There's no way.
No,
Yeah, I don't see
If
them
they
winning
win both games, then
I
we have
mean,
a miracle on
Colts.
our
You
hands.
can't be losing to the Colts. You can't be losing to the Jaguars. Can't lose to the
Nope.
Dolphins.
Can't lose to Falcons.
Titans maybe. I don't really. I'll be pissed if we lose to the Falcons, Browns, or Panthers. So realistically, you should. Yeah, 6-3 is the floor.
And
Honestly,
that's what you got to go. And if you go 6-3, you're now 10-7.
mm-hmm.
10-7.
Yeah.
That's a playoff team. When the best record in the league right now is 6-2, and they just lost their best player. I mean, I think that's a playoff team. I think the Pats are in good shape, and I really hope that they go out and get a corner, because I think that would put us over the hump, or at least get us close to the hump of making a run at the playoffs. I don't think it puts us over the hump, Super Bowl hump,
Right.
but it puts us over. Like, I think you're on the top half of the AFC teams. I think you're already there, but I think it kind of moves you up a couple slates into the AFC teams. All right, let's move on. We're gonna get into our next segment of the week, the picks of the week.
Picks of the week.
So for picks of the week, we picked one game from the NFL upcoming schedule. Obviously, big week we were just talking about in the coming off of kind of a bunch of surprising upsets. We'll go with Danny Football. What's your pick of the week?
6-2, looking pretty good. Turned it.
Yeah,
really turned this ship around.
Let me tell you something. You're on a heck of a heater right now. You're on a 6-game heater right now.
People are looking to make some money. The last 6 weeks are the time to do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't listen to me. I would listen to Danny Football all day long.
I'm gonna go Packers over Chiefs, regardless of what happens tonight against the Giants. Whether the Chiefs come out and blow the Giants out doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers is John Wick, man. He's killing everyone, and he's 7-1, and I think they're gonna throttle the Chiefs off a short week too. So
I like it. James, do you have a pick of the week?
Yeah, I'm going to go Cardinals over the 49ers. As much as I would love to see the 49ers gain some steam, I just don't think they're going to be able to turn it around. And with Kyler Murray, I'm really becoming a fan of his. I really want to see him grow more and see that team do well. But either way, I hope it's going to be a good game, regardless.
All right, I'm between two games right now. I'm between a dumpster bowl or a I'm going to go with this team. I have 4 wins this season. All right, I'm 4-4. It's been a brutal second half. I talked a little crap, Danny Football, and then all of a sudden, karma's coming down on me. I'm going with a team that has half of my wins on the season. I'm going with the New England Patriots over the Panthers.
Bold pick.
Listen, as much as I write this game off as a Patriots win, who knows what team is going to come out of Carolina? That's a home game. I mean, what team are you going to get? Stephon Gilmore is going to be trying to stick it to the Patriots. He did get a game clinching INT in last week, granted against the Falcons, but the Falcons, who I picked last week, I picked against the Panthers last week. What am I doing? I picked the Falcons last week over the Panthers. I will give an asterisk to that loss. I didn't know Calvin Ridley. I hope everything's okay, but I didn't know Calvin Ridley was going to take a leave of absence. That kind of changes a few things, but I'm going Patriots over Panthers.
Ride the hot hand.
What? Ride the hot hand. I mean, they have half my wins. I may just pick the
There we go.
Patriots for the rest of the season.
Do it the whole way.
I will. You don't think I will?
I will.
You don't think I will?
You get 6-3 out of it. So
I just hope you. I hope you lose a couple of those. All right.
What's the other game?
I was gonna pick
I'm just
between
curious.
the dumpster fire. I was gonna pick between the Texas Dolphins game.
Oh yes,
Jesus Christ, man.
yes.
Pick your pick of garbage going on in that game. All right. Let's go to waiver pickup of the week. Do you got one for us, Danny Football?
I'm going Adrian Peterson. Derrick Henry's dead.
Old man Peterson.
They're bringing Adrian Peterson back in. He's owned in 0.1% of leagues, so grab him while he's good.
That's unbelievable. All right. Well, as much as I want to say Mike White, pick up Mike White.
Do it. Why not? Who cares?
Why not? I mean, there's quarterback problems everywhere. I mean, I'd take a chance on him. I'm going to go with a guy that I wish I picked up against you, and it would have just not made me worry about if I'm going to get my 3 points from Nick Foles' field goal. I'm going with Boston Scott. It seemed like he's the guy. Like, he got 12 carries, 60 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's rostered in 4.9% of leagues. Gainwell was like non-existent out there. A nice secondary option was Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard had 12 carries, 57 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It looks like they're going those 2 guys as their running backs, and Gainwell is just thrown by the wayside. So I'm going with Boston Scott, but if you pick up one of those 2 guys, I think that's a good idea.
Solid.
James, do you have a waiver pickup?
Mike White.
Mike White. Go with Mike
Okay.
White.
We'll go with it.
I like it. Or the Eagles defense, 20 points against the dumpster
Yeah, but they're
Lions.
not playing the Lions every week.
Yeah. I'm immediately dropping that defense.
There's one for James. Whoever the Lions are playing, get that defense.
the bye week. Pick the
Yeah,
bye
take
week
the bye week
defense.
defense.
I mean, I think they have a shot. I think the Lions are going to lose against them.
I feel so bad for Lions fans at this point.
It gets so much worse. It can only get worse.
The funny thing is, like, did you see when I know we talked about it last week? I saw like a mic'd up version of what's his name? Matt Stafford was talking to the defensive line. He's like, I know. I'm pulling for you guys. I know it stinks, but just keep it going. Matt Stafford finally got out, and I'm happy he got out of that dumpster team. I think that's a good segue. I had some quick updates along around like the NFL and just quick news things. The Rams, the epitome of going all in.
Dude, they don't give a shit about cap hell. They're just good to go.
They don't care about the draft.
They don't care about the draft. They don't care about the cap. They just, anyone who's anyone is on the Rams right now.
They trade their 2nd and 3rd round pick to Denver for Von Miller. So, I mean, on paper, you're getting Von Miller and Aaron Donald on the same defensive line. That's pretty impressive. And they don't have a first round. I mean, their picks next week is a compensatory pick, a 5th round pick. No, I think a 5th round pick and then 2 7ths. That's what they have to pick next season. And man, that's going to be bad in the next couple of years. That team's going to hit an absolute wall when everyone gets old. They can't afford them, or they just leave, and it's just going to be so bad. But I mean, they better win. I like the Rams winning the Super Bowl this year, so go Rams, I guess. Either that, it's like a Yankees type fail where they just spend all this money and
We've seen it.
get
We've seen it happen
assets.
before.
We mentioned Derrick Henry's out for the rest of the year. That's a tough break for them, and they signed Adrian Peterson. I mean, that's crushing for
That
them.
sucks, man. He was my MVP pick too.
Yeah, he was earning it for the most part.
He was
I
on
mean,
his way. He was freaking on his way. He was throwing touchdown passes. That's the first rule you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, you can join me in my Stafford MVP pick.
I may have to jump on that train.
Jump on the train. James, you have an MVP pick for the NFL season? We already did this a couple weeks ago, but we did preseason. We haven't done our midseason picks, but I guess we'll do that next week.
So,
Give me a minute.
So wait. I'll be honest. You cut out saying that.
MVP. Who's the MVP of the NFL season so far? Give me a name. Any name.
Oh God. I mean, I hate to default on this, but I'm gonna have to say it anyway. I'm still gonna go with Tom Brady.
Ooh.
He was my original thought,
Yeah.
which I know that's somewhat. I know it's gonna be somewhat controversial. If you're looking at also the games that the Buccaneers have to come, bro, I really think later in the season the Bucks are going to be insane. I
Yeah,
really think so.
That's a good pick. That's a good MVP
It-
pick.
you know.
I like it. So that's all I have for the NFL. Braves, little World Series update. Braves are up 3-2 against the Astros. Couldn't close it.
I have a bad feeling about
Yeah,
this series
yeah.
now. I have such a
What?
bad feeling.
They broke the trash cans for
you-
game.
You hit
Game
you hit a grand slam to open up the game and you choke it away. I've seen that story before. So
Wait, I didn't get to see what happened. I got to look this up. Is that really what happened?
The Braves hit a grand slam in game 5.
Yeah.
I think it was
And
what, bottom one.
Bottom, yeah, it was either bottom.
Yeah, they pretty much opened the game with a grand slam and then lost the game.
You're kidding.
So
That's
now-
embarrassing.
I'm not feeling too confident anymore.
No.
And now they got to go back to Houston for the rest of the series. They're still up 3-2, so they just need to win 1 out of 2. But man, yeah,
I
it
would
was
have felt a lot better if they had just closed it out on game 5.
yeah, I definitely would have felt better about that. But you know what? Ride the Braves, baby. Ride the Braves. I hope they get a win. And I love Freddie Freeman, so I hope they get a W. James, pick Houston. I love doing these random picks. James just takes a guess, but he's usually right. Braves or Astros?
Oh, Braves.
Braves, I like it. Day football, you sticking with the Braves? Or you seem a little
Sticking with the Braves. Sticking with the Braves.
ride the Braves. Okay, and I'm gonna give him his time. Quick update on how he added it in UMass Lowell is doing. But how my Revs update, Danny Football always gives a quick 1-sentence plug into the Revs each week. So let's get his Revs plug and his UMass Lowell.
The Revs will be closing out the regular season on Sunday against the Miami Soccer Club.
Wait, are we trying to go to that game? Is that the game we were trying to go to? We
We
talked
can
about
try.
it.
We can see what's going on. I'm gonna have to see how my Sunday schedule is looking, but
He's a busy man.
I am a busy man. So they close it out on Sunday. All things considered, they finished the season. Well, currently they're at 73 points. That's a Major League Soccer record for most points in a season. 22 wins, 7 draws, 4 losses. Absolutely unheard of. Best season in MLS history. Like I said, they get a first round bye heading into the playoffs. Revs have never won an MLS Cup. Change that this year.
Love it. What do you got for UMass Lowell?
UMass Lowell is currently 4 wins, 1 loss, 1 overtime loss. We play Long Island on Wednesday. It's a makeup game from earlier in the season. And we have Northeastern next Friday, and I will be there.
Support the boys. Support the boys.
I'll be there. First game in almost 2 years.
I love it. Oh, that's right. You haven't been there in a while.
COVID, and then I missed the 2019 season. 'Cause
Crazy.
I took it for granted. Never again.
You learned your lesson.
Learn my
Learned your
lesson.
All right. Let's move on. We'll get to our final segment of the night. We're going to go to the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby. People's topic.
All right. So for people's topic, you can write on our Instagram and Twitter page at Big Red Zone. Give us a follow. Leave us a comment what you want us to talk about. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Hit the like button on this video as well as other videos. Let's get to it. All right, Mr. Big Red, it's got to stop with the me stuff. I'm done. I'm done. No, we're not.
No. I will indulge. She hosted a great party over the weekend. Hosted a great party over the weekend.
All right.
Her Ferris Bueller costume was on point, despite the lack of Deadpool, but all around great hosting job by Miss Big Red.
Not my fault. I have a giant head.
Not my fault.
Maya says, see you at Grand Slam. Okay.
Okay.
Paige.
Mhm.
Paige says, ooh. Oh, that's what she says. 100th episode. Fun. Thank you, Paige. I don't know if I have anything. Will Tom Brady or Bill Belichick retire first? Which one will retire first?
Brady. I would say Brady would retire first.
I mean, smart money's on Brady, but I mean, he's such a freak. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, because he's got
retire.
probably
It's gonna be I think just by like loophole it'll be Brady because I think Bill will just like transition to some sort of other front office role. He won't like retire. He'll like resign as coach, but still be GM or president or something like that.
And you know Belichick wants to just keep going.
I like that she typed out all of her thoughts.
Yeah. Thanks, Paige. So James goes Tom.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
we're all in agreement, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay. Good
I
question.
feel like Bill
Paige.
Belichick is going to be married to that stadium. Like he's going to be 85, 90 years old out there in a walker, still out there doing it.
Yeah, he's also petty, so he doesn't
Like
want
Bobby
to be.
Bowden.
He wants to be the last one to get he's the guy that wants to get the last word in. So he's going to be the one to stay in longer. Vicky says 100. Hey, that's exciting. Thanks, Vicky. Appreciate it.
Same thing as Paige, except less words.
Less words.
Vicky was a dark angel for Halloween.
She was a dark angel for Halloween. That's right. Oh, Ed, our friend Ed says Calvin Ridley. We kind of touched on that. Very sad. I hope everything's okay. I don't really know what was going on, but I hope everything's all right.
Well, I mean, mental health. You have to put that first. So I actually do commend him for putting that before professional football. So hopefully everything gets sorted out.
Absolutely. And I wish him nothing but the best. All right. Last question comes from our man. James, you remember who it is? Of course you remember who it is. It's Joseph _ Celia. Joseph _ Celia. Number one fan of the Big Red Zone. He goes, another banger of a question. He really gets right into it. What do you value more in football? A quarterback or a left tackle? A corner or a left tackle? That's a tough one.
I mean, I guess the obvious statement is you can build a team around a quarterback, but you can't really build them around a left tackle. That being said, left tackle is still really, really
no,
important.
not a quarterback, not a QB, a corner.
A corner. I think
a corner.
Oh God.
I'd rather have a solid left tackle. If Bill Belichick has taught us anything, is that you can throw anyone at corner and get it by. So I'll say left tackle.
Yeah, I think James hinted on it because he thought I said it, but a quarterback is your most important piece, I think, on your team. Unless you're the Titans and Derrick Henry's your most important team person. But you got to protect your guy. So left tackle is what protects him. Corner, you're right. You could put someone on an island, but that doesn't help the rest of the field if they.
Well, we saw that with Darrelle Revis when he was on the Jets. You want to talk about islands? He was as good as it comes, and they didn't win anything with him.
Yeah, so I think a left tackle is huge. Protects your franchise player, so I'd go left tackle.
Good question, though. All right, everyone. So Big Red was so fortunate as to start stomping on his computer and left the call. So I'll close this out for us. I want to thank James for joining us. 100 episodes, huge milestone. Got to tip my cap to the OG host. Big thanks to Big Red for leaving, saddling me with the closeout here. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on the Instagram, Twitter, everything good on the social medias so that you guys can keep up with the good takes. 100 episodes. Here's 100 more. Go Pats, go Revs, go UMass Lowell. We'll see you later. There we go.